Alright, so here is a look at the Treatlife three-way smart switch. Open that up. I've used several of their other smart switch and bulb products, but not a three-way one yet. And all good tape there. So, inside we have a user manual, thank you card, the wire labels. Never used myself, but reasonably good for other people if you need them to understand your wiring and remember them later. Frequently asked questions, so real quick glance at the user guide and instructions, which I'll read to make sure nothing is significantly different than other switches. Obviously, it's a little trickier with a three-way, so you may need to know a little bit about what you're doing there with the switches and the wiring of them. So it's 4 packs. We've got 2 on the side. So it comes with our little warning to, know what you're doing. That you need to be careful with electricity so you don't kill yourself, obviously. So 2 in the box. You got wire nuts in here and a couple face plates. So, face plate and wire nut mounting screws. So, that's what comes in the box. So I will take a look at the instructions and then make sure I know how to, wire them in correctly. Put them in. Alright, so here is a look at my existing switch that I'm going to replace. And this is going to be an interesting challenge because the way this is wired to the other switch here is, even though I have what's kind of a hot and what you would think would be a neutral, that's all coming from one wire. That's really not the case. So this is actually a traveler, and so is this. So obviously that's my ground, but on the new switch I'm going to have to connect the neutral to the neutral from this switch back in there. So I'm actually going to put the wire labels on, so that kind of reminds me that this is a traveler as well. So treat that as the hot 2 travelers. Neutral is going to go in there. So let me disconnect this switch and wire it up. Alright, so I have the connections made here. The easy one is the hot to the black wire of the switch. The tricky one is the white, the neutral here, to the neutral of the box, not what was white coming to the old switch, because that's really the neutral here. The white that was coming to the switch is actually a traveler, so I labeled that traveler here, which I don't think you can see, but anyway, so that goes to one of the red lines on the new switch. The red obviously goes to the other red here. The other traveler is connected to the traveler that I labeled here from the other switch, and obviously the green goes to the exposed copper ground. So I will try to finagle everything back into the box and screw the switch in and go from there. Alright, power's back on, a little better lighting going on here. Hopefully you can see the LED on the switch is blinking. So I have the Treatlife app, and obviously I already have several devices from Treatlife in here, but I'm going to add a new device, try to connect this. So what I'm going to hit is smart Wi-Fi, and then I'm going to cover my Wi-Fi password here, hopefully. So yes, I know I need a 2.4 gig Wi-Fi, which is already set up. So next, all right, reset the device, confirm that it's blinking. So you tap that, confirm that it's blinking, hit next. Should start recognizing, and if it's like the other devices I've used from Treatlife, it'll sort of spin slowly till it hits about 20-25%, and then all of a sudden it'll jump to 100. So it looks like this is going to take a while, but usually does not take very long at all. Alright, took a little longer than I thought, but there it is. Three-way switch. Now I'm going to change the name up here and change it right now to basement steps. Alright, so I can say done on here, and now we're ready to turn it on. And I don't know if you can tell, it just got really bright above me here, so turn it off and see if you notice a difference. There it is. So you can hear it sort of click a little bit when it does that. And there we go. Off. And I guess if you want a real test, I'll run up the steps and hit the three-way switch and you'll see the light come on. And it is, and the switch now knows that it's on. So I can hit power off, and there we go. Obviously it gives me the ability to do a timer, countdown sort of thing, and obviously programming. So I will try to look at that shortly, but there's the beginning part of this, is getting it wired and connected into the app. Alright, so here's a quick look at doing some of the automation, at least on the Apple side here with Siri, so not doing Alexa or Google Home, anything like that. But I've set up, so for the switch, I just added the three-way switch. So here's on. Let's see if you can see how I did that. So I'm going to do a tap to run. This, you can add multiple tasks that you want to have happen at that time. I just want the basement steps light to turn on. Here's where you configure the name, and I'm going to show on the home page there. And once you pick your device here, then you tell it if you want it on or off. So I have one for on, one for off. So those are there, so that's why I saw those on the home screen of this. And so if you add any additional tap to run steps here, they'll have a add to Siri button on next to them, and that way you can train Siri what you want to say. So if I were to do, hey Siri, basement steps on.
Just a sec. Okay, done.
There we go. Hey Siri, basement steps off.
Okay, done.
Okay. So there we go. So the switch works great. And I'm going to just put my phone down here and I'll talk to just a screen there with the product info on it. I am pleased with the switches. You do need to kind of be aware of your wiring. One thing is that they do not work if you have a dimmer switch on them. So that was a little disappointing for me, because a couple of the circuits that I really wanted to put the three-way switch on, I could not because of the dimmer switch. So I did confirm that with Treatlife technical support, so I don't think that's really clear in the product description details, but they did confirm that that will not work. And then there were a couple locations where I, on a circuit, I wanted to put a switch in a certain location, but the neutral, needing the neutral there, means you can't put it in one of the three-way switch locations that just has the one wire run to it. You need the whatever you want to call home or master junction box that actually has the line coming to it that will have the neutral wire in it. So just affects which end of a three-way circuit you put the switch, so that sort of dictates that. I was just trying to do it in a certain location to avoid working in a multi-junction box where I'd have to replace the cover switch with 3 or 4 different switches in it and switch the shape of them and all of that. But that's not a big deal. But the dimmer switch was, so that's a little disappointing, but overall I am very pleased with the Treatlife switches. That's what I use for all my smart home switch stuff. I have some of their light bulbs, their dimmer switches, so it was very nice to have a 3-way switch added in there. Now I just need to have them put out a 3-way dimmer switch, and then life will be good. Alrighty, thanks. I hope this was helpful. Have a great day.